Good to be home for D-backs baseball, only on Fox Sports Arizona. Well, there it is, Archie Bradley and Stephen Strasburg, future Hall of Famers. We'll see. Welcome to the broadcast and welcome to Chase Field. Steve Berthiaume and Bob Brenly along the way. We've got quite a pitching matchup for you tonight. Bradley and Strasburg. Bob, Archie last time in Milwaukee, really good.
Outstanding over his 7 innings of work, scattered 4 hits. He did walk 3 batters. None of those hurt him in the ball game. It didn't look like it was going to be a good game at the beginning. He had 2 men on and nobody out to start the ball game against the Brewers. But then a line drive double play and a ridiculous caught stealing at third base, and he cruised after that.
Yeah, 7 innings, gave up only 1 run on 4 hits and had 6 strikeouts.
And has really shown an amazing ability when he does get into trouble to be able to wiggle out of those jams. Hopefully no jams for Archie tonight.
Well, at one point in his career, Stephen Strasburg was a promising young pitcher. Now he is maybe the best in baseball, at least according to some of the numbers. 14-1, a 2.68 ERA. He is 4th in the National League in strikeouts.
Big time strikeout pitcher. Talking to some of the people with the Nationals, they said in the past they tried to get Stephen to narrow the strike zone down. Now he's at a place where he can actually start to expand the zone back out again. Well, this guy is going to be a handful.
Should be a fun ball game to watch. Archie Bradley and Stephen Strasburg, the first of 3, the D-backs and the Washington Nationals. First pitch from Chase Field coming up. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. By Jack in the Box. Taste the all-new Double Jack Burger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by your Valley Honda dealers, where you get more standard features for less money. Is brought to you by Lone Butte Casino. Get in on big wins. By Tire Pros. For the best selection of Continental and General brand tires, visit your local Arizona Tire Pros today. By Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. Back home inside Chase Field, Archie Bradley, he was terrific in Miller Park in Milwaukee last week. We'll see if he can do it again up against the Nationals' Stephen Strasburg. First pitch is next from Chase Field. Long road through Cincinnati, Milwaukee, and Los Angeles, but we are back home in Arizona. Roof and panels closed and set to go for some D-backs baseball against Dusty Baker's Washington Nationals. They're on a three-city road trip of their own. They split 2 in Cleveland, split 4 in San Francisco, and they'll finish up with 3 here in Phoenix.
Dusty Baker's locked and loaded. Strong Washington Nationals team. Here's how he's going to line them up tonight. Trey Turner out in center field. Jason Worth, they call him Baseball Jesus. He'll be out in left field. Bryce Harper in right. Daniel Murphy at second base. Anthony Rendon down at third. Wilson Ramos having a big year behind the plate. Clint Robinson at first base. Danny Espinosa at shortstop, and right-hander Stephen Strasburg on the mound.
And there's a right-hander on the mound for the Diamondbacks. He is your Arizona forward starting pitcher. It's Archie Bradley, facing the Nationals for the first time in his career and coming off one of his best performances as a Diamondback. A win at Milwaukee on Wednesday. 7 innings. He gave up only 1 run on 4 hits.
Yeah, it's really tough to quantify what's different about Archie Bradley this year, other than to say he's a much more poised pitcher than at any other point in his career. He looks like he knows what he's doing. He knows he has the arsenal to get it done. And hopefully he'll be able to do that against this tough Nationals lineup tonight.
Let's take a look. Diamondbacks around Archie Bradley. Our Eye on Defense is brought to you by Nationwide Vision Center.
David Peralta manning right field once again. I've got the horn ready. Michael Bourne out in center field. Brandon Drury in left field tonight. Jake Lamb at third. Chris Owings at short. Gene Segura at second. Paul Goldschmidt over at first base. Wellington Castillo behind the plate for right-hander Archie Bradley.
And Kerwin Danley is behind the plate for the umpires tonight. He'll have the balls and strikes. Andy Fletcher at first, Mark Ripperger at second, and the Cowboy, the crew chief Joe West, is at third. Well, the Washington Nationals feeling no pain right now. They're having fun. Their first season under Dusty Baker, who has been a very good fit in D.C. 61-44. They hold a 4-game lead over the Miami Marlins for the National League East lead. The Mets are 6.5 back.
A lot of Diamondbacks connections. You may have noticed the gentleman in the blue shirt in the middle of the dugout there. That's Paul Lessard, the head trainer for the Nationals. He was the trainer here in Arizona for a long time.
Well, here's one of their top prospects who has just been called up to the major leagues. Trey Turner, the shortstop, now in center field, and this guy can run like the wind. Strike one from Archie. We're underway in downtown Phoenix. Turner 317 in just 16 games this year. Turner has been considered one of the top shortstop prospects in all of baseball since he was drafted only 2 years ago out of North Carolina State. But the Nationals are transitioning Turner into center field, where up until a month ago he'd never really played as a professional, but he's done well out there. 2 balls and a strike from Archie Bradley. The fly ball to center field. Coming in from right center is Michael Bourn. And they retire Trey Turner.
Always good. Keep the fast guys off base. Trey Turner with 31 stolen bases last year, combined at 4 different levels.
Now we are told that he can run almost as fast as Billy Hamilton. And we saw Billy Hamilton on the last road trip in Cincinnati, where he ran wild.
And he's fast.
He is. Jason Worth, now at the age of 37, Jason Worth. His 14th season in the big leagues.
He'll take the first pitch.
And it's a strike.
Always does. This guy sees as many pitches as anybody in the game. Every at bat goes 5, 6, 7 pitches.
Well, that's one reason why he has reached base safely in 33 consecutive games. 249 and 12 home runs. That's fouled away, and Archie's ahead 0-2. Archie says the biggest thing about this year for him is finally being healthy. That's one. And also being able to put together game plans and learn from start to start and make adjustments week to week. And we've watched him, Bob, as you mentioned earlier, do that over the course of this year. More poise, more maturity out there.
Basically called pitching. You know, it's one thing to have a good arm and high velocity fastball and a good breaking ball, but if you don't know how to use them against an opposing lineup, you're just basically throwing glorified batting practice. Archie's a much better idea of his own strengths and weaknesses.
The roller behind the bag. Chris Owings can't corral that one. Worth's aboard for the 34th consecutive ball game. Tricky play as it rolled over the mound.
A long way to go for Chris Owings that time. Hit him in the heel of the glove, however, and didn't recover quickly enough. Tried to swat at it with his glove right there rather than go after it with the bare hand. That'll be an infield hit for Jason Worth.
And here comes Bryce Harper. Jake Lamb, the third baseman, over behind the second base bag. It has not been a typical Bryce Harper year. 235 and 20 home runs. He's been in about a 3-month-long slump and just has not been able to fix it. And it's been an ongoing story in Washington, D.C. An all-star for the 4th time in his career this year. But look at this. He got off to a typical Bryce Harper start, about 290 in April. He homered 9 times, but since then he's hit only 220.
And really not driving in many runs either. Only 56 RBI with his 20 homers, as opposed to a guy like Daniel Murphy, who's driven in 76 with his 20 home runs.
And it's been a particularly difficult stretch for Harper as of late. He is stuck right now as we begin this series in a 6 for 55 slump. He says it's like quicksand. The harder you fight, the deeper you sink. And he has sunk. Archie not giving him anything to hit, and he's behind 3-0 with Worth at first and 1 out. Worth takes off for second. To throw from Castillo. No signal as of yet. Still no signal.
Ball 4 at the plate.
There you go. So a single and a walk with 1 out have put 2 on for the most dangerous hitter in the league. It's Daniel Murphy. And what a season it's been for the former Met. He and Gene Segura neck and neck now for the National League lead in hits. Segura's only 2 behind. .350 and 20 home runs his first season in Washington. .350 leads the league. And he's already well over his previous career high with the 20 homers.
Had a chance to talk to Dusty's bench coach Chris Spire, who was my third base coach in 2001 and after that, and ask him about Daniel Murphy, because I've only ever really seen him as an opponent across the field and certainly appreciate his talents, but Chris Spire said this guy has not given away an at bat yet this year. And those are usually the guys that end up atop the leaderboard in hitting in the National and American League, the guys that grind and refuse to give away those at bats.
He is leading the league in batting average, hits, doubles, slugging percentage, and OPS. And one of the things that has made such a great hitter out of Daniel Murphy is the way he stands at the plate. He really moves in on the plate and crowds it. He's always been able to hit the inside pitch. He did that as a Met, but now that he's a National, he's moved closer to the plate and he covers the outer half a lot better than he did before. He learned that from Kevin Long, the hitting coach, while he was in New York. He got him to move up a little closer to the plate. And he's able to keep his hands, Bob, in close to his body. So there's no spot, almost no spot in that strike zone he can't cover.
Yeah, a lot of guys have trouble with that pitch down. But everything else, he's covering it. Outside corner, inside corner, up and down.
A ball and a strike. Do some guys just have the ability to get that hands inside the pitch no matter how inside it comes to you?
Some guys can. Yeah, other guys, it's something they try to learn and try to get better at, but for other guys it's just a natural reaction. Great hand-eye coordination, great body control, and they're able to put their toes right on that inside corner of the plate and still be quick enough to hit an inside pitch.
And you can see where Murphy's toe is on that back foot. Archie behind 3-1. 16 pitches, more balls than strikes. They're working him away. Sets that toe right in that back corner of the left-hand batter's box. Lifts it in the air along the left field line, headed for the seats and out of play.
It really has been a breakthrough year for Murphy. Almost the same number of games. At this time last year, he was hitting .266 with 25 extra base hits, 6 of those homers. This year he's hitting .350 with 56 extra base hits. 20 of those have left the ballpark. He's doubled his RBIs. Just much better all-around offensive player.
This is a guy the Mets decided they didn't want. They wanted to move on from Daniel Murphy once he became a free agent. Nationals gave him a 3-year deal for about $38 million, and so far he's been worth every penny. For a while he couldn't find a job.
And if you watch Murphy, the way he holds that bat, the top hand, it's way up in his fingers as he's waiting for Archie Bradley to deliver the ball. Right there, just a very light grip up in his fingers. It's not buried back in the palm of his hand.
Well, a single and back-to-back walks for Archie Bradley have loaded the bases. There's still only one out. Anthony Rendon will be the hitter. And Archie an immediate mess.
Third baseman number 6, Anthony
Rendon, 261 and 13 home runs. He's hit safely in 4 straight. Mike Butcher out there. Jason Worth, the runner at third. Bryce Harper at second. And Daniel Murphy at first. The Nationals scoring runs in the first inning is nothing new. They've scored even more than the Diamondbacks this year in the first. And the way the Diamondbacks have been going as of late, that's saying something. Fastball is fouled back, and Archie's ahead 0-1.
Well, the Nationals have been tough for the Diamondbacks historically. They've got 6 hitters that have hit over 300 against the Diamondbacks in their careers. One of them's not even in the lineup tonight, Ryan Zimmerman.
He's got the night off.
Ben Revere in limited at bats, 45 career at bats, a .378 hitter, so a couple of their better hitters against the D-backs not even in the lineup tonight.
0-2. Rendon homered in the Nationals' loss at San Francisco on Saturday. This guy was the 6th overall pick in the draft by Washington 5 years ago out of Rice. Just about a .340 career hitter against the Diamondbacks. 20 pitches for Archie, 10 balls, 10 strikes. The 0-2. Fastball missed away, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Kerwin Danley says no. Deep right field, David Peralta just shy of the warning track. Worth is at third. He will come in. Harper advances as well, and it's 1-0 Nationals.
An opportunity for Archie to limit the damage if he can find a way to retire Wilson Ramos right here and hold it at a 1-run Nationals lead.
Well, that has not been easy to do as of late. Ramos is baseball's best hitting catcher this season. He's having a wonderful year at .327 and 15 home runs. A National League All-Star this year. Harper at third, Murphy at first. 2 outs and 1 run in.
And unlike Daniel Murphy, who had his toes on the inside corner of the plate, you can see Ramos, he's right about in the middle of that right-handed batter's box, but it looks like he's a long way off the plate. Right about in the middle, a little bit of an open stance, but if you look from Archie Bradley's point of view, it looks like you could just paint that outside corner on him all day.
Yeah. He shoots it into right field. This will get Harper home. Murphy will head for third. The RBI single for Ramos, and it's 2-0 Washington.
That might be exactly what Wilson Ramos wants you to do. Try to hit that outside corner so he can shoot it into right field like he does here.
Clint Robinson.
It's got a little more plate than Archie would have liked. Just a sizzling ground ball through that right side to push the lead to 2.
Clint Robinson getting the start at first base for Ryan Zimmerman tonight. Murphy's at third now. Ramos at first. Still 2 outs. Robinson 2 for his last 21 up there. Ball 1. Clint Robinson 205 and 5 homers. He's been mostly backing up at first base this year, playing occasionally in left field. Cowboy Joe West coming in from third, making Archie Bradley change baseballs.
Well, you knew Joe would find a way to inject himself into the ball game here at some point. It really came early tonight.
It usually does. behind on Clint Robinson 2-0. Archie still more balls than strikes to this point. He's walked 2 in the inning. One has scored, the other standing at third base. And there for a strike, 2-1. We'll take it. What do you think as a hitter when you see that? What can you think?
Well,
all bets are off.
I'll tell you what I would think.
Well,
probably get me thrown out of the game.
2-2.
The count's 2-2, and there's yet to be a ball in the strike zone.
Wow. And those aren't even close.
Looks like Archie's hat is completely saturated with sweat out there already.
He's had to work hard in this first. He's going to have to keep working. That drops in front of Drury out there. Murphy scores, and it's 3-0.
There's a drop of curveball on that outside corner, but once again catches a little bit too much plate. Robinson in defensive mode up there, just looking for a ball to put into play. Slaps that one into left field for an RBI base hit.
8th man to bat in the Nationals first is the shortstop Danny Espinosa. .224. He's got good power for a shortstop. He's homered 18 times. Ball 1. Espinosa approaching a career high of 21 homers set 5 years ago. Although it's been nearly a month since his last home run, July 3rd.
11 of his 18 have come from the left side of the plate. He's a switch hitter.
Wilson Ramos, the catcher's at second. Clint Robinson at first. 3 runs in.
Yeah, Danny.
That's by Goldie. They will wave Ramos home. The throw from Peralta is not in time, and it's 4-0.
Pitcher, number 37.
Another hard hit ball through that right side. Goldie barely had time to react to it. Davis' throw to the plate was strong but offline. Nationals 4-zip already here in the first.
Mike Butcher's already made 1 mound visit. The bullpen will get busy for the Diamondbacks. With Archie Bradley at 31 pitches. Randall Delgado. Steven Strasburg, the 9th man to bat in this inning. Strike 1. Strasburg's a big guy up there, 6'4", 235. There's a tapper that's going to stay fair. Tough play for Jake Lamb. And oh no, Strasburg beats it out. Goldie pulled off the bag by the throw from Lamb, says first base umpire Andy Fletcher. Tough play for Jake.
That'll go down as an infield base hit for Strasburg. But Goldie just drug his foot just a little bit off that bag. And Andy Fletcher right on top of it.
So it goes as an infield single. The bases are loaded for the Nationals, who've already scored 4 runs, and now they've batted around. As Trey Turner, who led off with a fly ball to center field for the first out of the ball game, will hit again in the first inning. Robinson at third, Espinosa at second, and Strasburg at first. Breaking ball misses, and it's 1-0.
Even with the expanded strike zone by Kerwin Danley, Archie Bradley just doesn't look like he's attacking the zone the way he did in Milwaukee.
And that was the thing that even he said he did best against the Brewers.
Boy, he was just firing strike one, going right after him. Once he got ahead in the count, he kept ahead in the count. He was kind of nibbling tonight.
Ground ball to second for Segura, and the inning ends, but the Nationals send 10 men to the plate in the first. 4 of them score. Diamondbacks coming up against Steven Strasburg. He spots the Nationals 4 in the top of the first, and now the Diamondbacks will take a crack at Steven Strasburg. 43 and 62 on the year. The lineup for Chip Hale's ball club tonight.
Gene Segura leading it off at second base. Michael Bourne out in center field. Paul Goldschmidt at his customary first base position, batting third. Jake Lamb at third base. Wellington Castillo doing the catching. David Peralta out in right field with Chris Owings at short, Brandon Drury in left, and Archie Bradley on the mound.
And on the mound for the Nationals, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher is Steven Strasburg, now in his 7th season in the big leagues. And he's never been better. 14-1 in 19 starts. The ERA is 2.68. No pitcher in baseball has won more games this year.
And over the last 2 years, when Steven Strasburg has been given 3 or more runs of support, which he's already gotten in the first inning, he's a perfect 24-0. The Nationals are 26-1.
Let's take a look at the defense around him. Our eye on defense for Washington, brought to you by Nationwide Vision Centers.
Jason Worth, dirty already. That's the way he loves it. He'll be out in left field. Trey Turner in center. Bryce Harper in right. It'll be Rendon, Espinosa, Murphy, and Robinson third to first across the infield, with Wilson Ramos behind the plate and right-hander Steven Strasburg on the mound.
So Gene Segura will lead it off for the Diamondbacks. Second in the National League in hits, only 2 behind Daniel Murphy over there at second base for the league lead. Time now, Bob, for your Valley Honda dealers. Key to the game.
Yeah, funny you mention that. Everybody's heard of Murphy's Law. We're going to change it to Segura's Law after he bypasses Daniel Murphy and hits tonight.
See what you've done there. Murphy walked and scored in his first plate appearance tonight. And Segura had 2-0. There he is, leading the league in hits and batting average. Jean Segura hit over 300 on the long road trip. He homered twice. A 400 on base percentage during that trip. He started all 10 games. Fastballs in there. 3-1. Steven Strasburg, we know all about the heat. He's averaging 95.9 miles per hour with his fastball this year. And it's 3-2.
And throwing a lot more of those four-seamers. There was a time in the past Steven Strasburg tried to throw some two-seamers and sink the ball, especially in a potential double play situation. Not so much this year. Big explosive fastball, a slider that at times will be very short like a cut fastball, at other times have a lot of downward movement.
Segura fights that one off, and it drops right on the line. A fair ball, and he takes the turn. Harper picks it up, and Segura is in there. A double.
Bits of wood flying around the batter's box there. Gene didn't know where the ball was initially, realizes it had a chance and drops just inside the stripe down that right field line. We know Bryce Harper has a big arm out there. A nice slide by Jean Segura. Had the right arm out there, then pulled it back and reached for the bag with the left hand, causing Espinosa to miss the tag.
Dusty Baker having his video people check on that one. It was awfully close. But no challenge for the Nationals. That'll bring up Michael Bourn.
Over the last 4 seasons, Bryce Harper ranks 3rd in the National League in outfield assists with 44. Only Jay Bruce and our buddy Gerardo Parra have thrown out more base runners from the outfield.
Yeah, the way that one kind of died on that line, Harper really had to run in to get it. Bourn bunts it toward third. Rendon's on it. And they move Segura into third. They're down 4-0 playing for one here.
I'm not so sure that Michael Bourn wasn't just trying to bunt for a base hit right there. He'll get credited with a sacrifice bunt for moving Jean Segura up to third base, but I think he was just trying to bunt for a base hit that time.
So Segura at third, one down for Goldie. 297 and 17 homers. 5-3 on the sacrifice. Stays away from a first pitch fastball to Goldie, and it's 0-1. Strasburg has done a better job this year of mixing things up out there. Throw that four-seamer about 57% of the time, but he's done a good job of balancing everything else out. Slider, curveball, changeup. He'll throw a slider and a changeup that will both hit 90 miles an hour at times. Throwing that slider a lot more often this year than he did last year. There's Greg Maddux, the pitching coach, or pardon me, Mike Maddux. Only hits that one down the line in right, and Harper will watch it go foul.
Mike Maddux will tell you he's the better looking of the Maddux brothers. He's done a nice job as a pitching coach wherever he's been. He has some pitchers to work with.
There is that. They're all making a lot of money. Got some big contracts on this Nationals ball club, including Strasburg, who got paid earlier this year. A 7-year, $175 million deal. Max Scherzer will go Wednesday afternoon. Nationals back in May of this year finally ponied up and locked up Strasburg long term.
Very nearly got underneath Wilson Ramos back there behind the plate. He's a solid throw man, but blocking balls, occasional pass balls. His bat is what keeps him in the lineup behind the plate.
Comes to shortstop. This will get Segura home. Espinosa throws about the RBI for Goldie, and it's a 4-1 ball game.
Third baseman,
find yourself behind 4-0 in the first inning of a ball game, you have to remind yourself, or somebody on that bench has to keep reminding the players, there's a lot of baseball left to play.
Don't have to get them all back at once.
No. It's a tall order against Stephen Strasburg, but stranger things have happened.
Nationals will have the shift on against Lamb. They'll leave Rendon, the third baseman, over there in the shortstop spot, and slide everybody over. Espinosa, the shortstop, on the first base side of second, and Murphy with his feet in the outfield grass. 0-2 on Lamb.
I mentioned it in the open of the show, talking to FP Santangelo, who does such a fine job on Nationals TV, about Stephen Strasburg. And through most of his career, they were trying to get him to narrow the strike zone down. He was a little bit wild at times, but this year his command has been so good that they've actually started to expand the strike zone. Pitch out of the zone when you're ahead in the count. Bounce a curveball when you're ahead in the count. Throw that changeup off the outside corner when you're ahead in the count, and he's done a nice job of doing that.
He strikes out Lamb with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. Diamondbacks get one back. They trail it 4-1.
Down 4-1 as we head to the second. I'm Kate Longworth. Well, the non-waiver trade deadline has come and gone, and although the Diamondbacks did not make any moves in the final hours, that did not keep the D-backs from some tense moments. The players admitted to me that although they were trying to concentrate what was happening on the field, it was hard to quiet down that outside chatter because they know trades can affect them and their families. However, a lot looser today in the clubhouse, guys. The players told me they have a newfound confidence knowing that this organization believes in this young core. And Bob, you can probably attest from being a player and manager yourself, those final days in July, they can be tense. And Steve, as you know, with social media now, it's hard to avoid.
A lot of guys moved around today, BB. Trade deadline was 1 o'clock Phoenix time today.
But you're right about the social media aspect of the trade deadline, as opposed to back in the day. We had to start our own rumors down in the clubhouse. You know, there wasn't any Twitter or Facebook or anything like that.
You were better off. Jason Worth leads off the Nationals' second inning against Archie Bradley. Of course, you can still make trades after today, but those players have to clear waivers before they can be dealt. Some people get confused about, well, wait, trade deadline's over. How can somebody get traded? Well, you can trade them to whoever you want right now, but not anymore. Now that the deadline is passed, you have to clear them through waivers, and if they clear, then you can trade them to whoever you want. Archie, who walked 2 in that 4-run Nationals first, both walks scored, has gone full on Worth to lead off the second. This high in the air left center field. It's going to stay in the ballpark for Bourne. One away.
Standing around the cage today listening to Jason Worth and Wilson Ramos talk about this ballpark like every other visiting team that comes in here. The hitters absolutely love Chase Field.
That hitter's background.
Yep, great background, great conditions. You always know it's going to be perfect baseball conditions for the game. You don't have to worry about rain or wind or any of that stuff.
Well, they sure look like they liked it in the first. They scored 4 times. Harper gets that one just by a diving Owings into left center. A base hit for Harper. He's been on base twice, a walk and a single.
You mentioned his 80 walks pacing the way in the National League, but offensively it's been a struggle for Bryce Harper. He's got 12 doubles on the season. He had 8 in the month of June last year when he finished with 38 doubles. He's got 20 homers on the season. He had 13 in the month of May last year when he finished with 42.
In his last 16 games, he's hitting 109. Here's the league's leading hitter, Daniel Murphy.
Now, all that being said, we know Bryce Harper can go off and go off in a hurry.
We've seen him in this ballpark before, in fact, last few years. The reigning NL MVP. He and Goldie last year down there at first, 1-2. Murphy walked and scored his first time up. Long set by Archie. Nobody calls timeout. That pitch missed. Murphy leading the league at 350. Already with 20 home runs. Boy, his offensive pace, he has crushed the ball lately. 8 doubles, 6 homers, and 20 RBIs in his last 16 games. And he's always been a very good contact guy up there. Hardly ever strikes out. He's always been one of the hardest players in the league to strike out, Bob. But he's up there. He's just so quiet, and he looks patient when he's standing there. He's in no rush.
Yeah, and not a lot of movement. It's a very simple approach at the plate. We talked about how close to the plate he stands, the loose grip that he has on the bat, and he just kind of rocks up on the toe of his front foot and then puts it right back down almost exactly in the same spot.
Play, and it's 1-2. Well, Murphy's a guy who's just wearing out right-hand pitching this season. He's a tough out for any right-hand thrower. He's batting nearly .360 against right-handers, including 14 of his 20 homers. And he's hitting .330 versus lefties.
Yeah, way down to .330 against lefties.
It's a big drop. Bryce Harper was joking the other day, and Murphy's getting the hits that I used to get. That's what he does, is kind of keeps the at bat going until he gets a better pitch to hit. Murphy's back in the lineup tonight. He missed a couple of starts with some leg tightness in his left leg. Struck out as a pinch hitter in their loss yesterday against the Giants. But he has walked. Segura has doubled, so Gene now only 1 behind Murphy for the league lead in hits. But hold on, there he goes. Knocks it into right field. So Harper a walk and a single, Murphy a walk and a single. 2 on and 1 out.
Curveball down over the heart of the plate. Murphy got it off the end of the bat just a little bit, as you saw Wellington Castillo go down to block that ball. Murphy scoops it right off the dirt into right field for his first hit of the game.
Anthony Rendon knocked in a run with a sacrifice fly. Nationals already have 4 runs on 7 hits, and Archie Bradley has recorded only 4 outs. Ball hit it for the right field corner. Here comes the freight train on the run. Foul ground, and he runs out of room. You know that thing that they put at the end of railroad tracks to kind of stop everything? He ran into that thing.
Yes, he did. The tracks stop here. Nice effort. Just a little bit out of his reach right there.
That young lady caught that one in her mitt. Archie already at 50 pitches. 30 for strikes ahead of Rendon 0-2. Harper at second and Murphy at first. Just 1 out. Goes the general. Kathy Grant down there, our Golden Glover, didn't quite make the play that time. Somebody cut her off. You don't cut off General Grant. One and 2 on Anthony Rendon.
A good spot for that pitch right there by Archie, right on the corner at the knees, and Rendon, much like we've seen Paul Goldschmidt do recently, just wasted it, get a piece of it, foul it off, force Archie to throw one more pitch.
That's one thing that Chip liked from Archie in that start at Milwaukee last week. Very good at locating that fastball. Keep it down, show a good curveball. Throw strikes with it when you need to. That one is laced fair down the left field line. As they score Harper. Murphy's on the run. They're going to send him home as well. The relay from Owings is cut off. And it's 6-1 Washington.
Rendon, another guy, really spread out in that batter's box on a 2-strike count. Very little movement, just see the ball and react quickly, and he jerk pulls that one down into the left field corner. By the time Brandon Drury gets it back in, the Nationals have tacked on 2 more.
Bullpen will get busy again for the Diamondbacks. Archie has given up 6 runs. He's got only 4 outs. Randall Delgado was throwing in the first. Now he's warming up again in the second as Wilson Ramos steps up.
Unless this is one of those starts, and we've talked about the Diamondbacks' goal for the next couple months of the season, and there will be times when Chip Hale and Mike Butcher want to see a pitcher go through some struggles, find your way out the other side. If that's one of the starts for Archie Bradley tonight, it's going to be a rough one. Otherwise, I don't think he's going to fool the Nationals much tonight. They've been on his fastball when he's been in the zone. They've been on his curveball when it's been in the zone.
Well, it's just off a 10-game road trip. That bullpen worked a lot in the 10 games on the road, 10 straight, in fact. And so Archie may just have to stay out there and wear it for a while. Behind on Ramos, 3-0.
Well, knowing Dusty Baker the way we do, even with a 6-1 lead early, a lot of ball game left, as we mentioned. Wilson Ramos, I'm sure, has the green light here on this 3-0 pitch if it's something to his liking.
Segura can't get it. He can recover, though. Still has time to throw out Ramos as Rendon moves into third.
Something to file away for the rest of this series. Twice Ramos has hit the ball hard to the right side of the field. We talked about how it looks like he's standing a long way off the plate, but then he closes that gap and drives pitches away from him hard to the opposite field.
2 down for Clint Robinson. He started first base tonight. Diamondbacks have the shift on. Chris Owings will move over to the first base side of second. Jake Lamb near the bag at third. Oh, that's ball one. Robinson had an RBI single in his first at bat. Nationals already with 6 runs on 8 hits.
Rare straight changeup that time from Archie Bradley. Got the big swing and a miss from Robinson.
You know, his fastball and curveball were so good against the Brewers last week. He didn't even need that changeup. We almost never saw it. And already at 60 pitches. That's tap foul. Right in front of the great Davey Lopes coaching at first. He and Dusty were teammates on those great Dodger teams in the late 70s.
Yeah, Davey's coached a lot of first base, and he's smart enough not even to bend over and pick that up.
They got people for that.
Only bad things can happen. People will boo you if you happen to drop it. If you give it to the wrong person in the stands, they'll boo you. So Davey just let it roll on by.
Boy, he could fly around the bases in his day, Davey Lopes. Used to have that big hairdo. The helmet would come flying off. He'd take off first to third. Center field for Bourne coming in, and he's got it. But the Nationals get 2 more. They lead it 6-1.
Strasburg. We're going to show you his arsenal of pitches. That's the four-seam fastball, really effective when he works it up at the top of the zone. Straight changeup. At times he'll really turn it over and get a lot of fading action away from the left-handed hitters. This is the big curveball, really pulls down hard, straight down toward the ground, the old 12-6 curve, and that's an example of the slider slash cutter. At times it'll be a bigger flat breaking ball, at other times very short and late, but four quality pitches to attack an opposing lineup.
Yeah, that last one, the slider, is the one that he's thrown a lot more this year than he has in the past. He's cut back on the curveball somewhat. Wellington Castillo leads off the Diamondbacks second. Welly at 261 and 11 home runs.
One thing about all those pitches, other than the straight changeup, all high velocity. He'll throw his slider between 88 and 91 miles per hour. As good as a lot of pitchers' fastball.
Castillo gets this one up in the air. He drives it toward Harper and right. And he's got it just shy of the wall.
Castillo starting to drive the ball a little more regularly. Chases Bryce Harper rather, all the way to the barrier out there in right field. Nice leaping catch.
That'll bring up David Peralta. 253 and 4 home runs for David. He tripled Saturday in the win over the Dodgers. That's his only hit since returning Friday from the DL after that lower back strain. This one is near the Diamondback dugout, and it's in the Diamondback dugout. Wilson Ramos is a big dude back there. 6'1", 255. He's a load.
We just came off that road trip where we saw Jonathan Lucroy catching in Milwaukee and talked about how small he gets behind the plate. Wilson Ramos has no alternative than to be big.
Lucroy now a Texas Ranger after he was dealt from the Brewers. He rejected a trade to Cleveland, wound up in Texas.
Yeah, a lot of guys packing up equipment today.
Jay Bruce now on the Mets.
Getting airline tickets.
Matt Duffy traded from the Giants to the Tampa Bay Rays late today. That one came across the wires right after the deadline. Stuck that one in. Of course, the Nationals added to their bullpen. They got Mark Melancon the other day. Peralta drops that in front of Harper. A one-out single, the second hit for the D-backs against Stephen Strasburg.
Shortstop, number 16, Chris Owings.
Here's Chris Owings. CEO the start at shortstop tonight, 264 and 2 home runs. Chris had a good series at Dodger Stadium. He hit safely and had an RBI in all 3 games in LA over the weekend. Of course, Chris's brother Connor just won the national championship. Connor Owings playing for the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. They beat U of A. And Connor was a D-backs draftee, a 34th round pick. In there for a strike, and it's 0-2. Stephen Strasburg, of course, the first overall pick when he came out of San Diego State 2009 draft. He was drafted first overall in 2009, then a little over a year later, almost exactly a year, there was that highly anticipated big league debut, and he put on an absolute show. It was an event. Wasn't a baseball game, it was a real event. He struck out 14 overmatched Pittsburgh Pirates in his first big league game at Nats Park. But then by the following season, he was a Tommy John patient. But this year, 14-1 in 19 starts. No pitcher in baseball has won more games. He strikes out Owing, second strikeout for Strasburg.
That's the slider. Bounces out in front of home plate.
Number 27.
Bad read on that one.
Are certain pitchers, Bob, able to get their breaking stuff to move differently? I mean, it seems like a guy, they always say, well, what do you have? What's this guy got? And some guys just, no matter how they try to manipulate the baseball, it's just going to move a certain way for certain guys, it seems. Can you change that?
Well, and it gets back to one of the new stats, the spin rate.
Oh.
You know, some guys can spin the ball a little harder than others. Some guys have bigger hands, longer fingers, and know how to use those God-given talents to make the baseball do some funny things when it gets up there to the hitting zone.
Because as you said, I mean, hit that slider. I mean, some guys you think slider, it's this big breaking wipeout pitch, but for Strasburg, it's kind of like a tight cutter, like you mentioned.
At times he'll get around that cutter a little bit and it'll look more like a quote-unquote normal slider, but you know, when you can throw it at 90 miles an hour and get just enough movement to get that ball off the barrel of the bat, that's all you need. There's one right there.
Fly ball to Worth in left field. Steven Strasburg strands the one-out single. Diamondbacks in downtown Phoenix trail at 6-1. Coverage of baseball is brought to you by T-Mobile. A moment ago we were talking about the trade deadline, which passed at 1 o'clock Arizona time today, and these were the big names who are on the move. Jay Bruce goes from the Reds to the Mets. The Dodgers picked up pitcher Rich Hill and Josh Reddick from Oakland, and Yasiel Puig has gone AWOL right now. Carlos Beltran, all that postseason experience, goes to Texas, and the Rangers also picked up Luke Roy and Jeremy Jeffress, the pitcher from the Brewers. And apparently Puig was told before the Dodgers left for their next road trip that he would either be traded or sent to the minor leagues, so he just took off.
Yeah, didn't show up for the team flight.
And they left without him, so nobody knows where Puig is right now, and apparently he's unhappy. Danny Espinosa leads off the Washington third against Archie Bradley. Holding it first. Was the trade deadline as big a deal in your day as it seems to be now? I guess social media kind of drives it a little bit more. There's a lot more media in general, but
a lot more attention now than there ever was. But yeah, you know, within the game, within the guys down on the field and the people in the front office, it's always been a big deal. And as is usual, the teams that think they have a chance to go to the postseason or are positioning themselves for the postseason are usually the most active to plug the holes or any perceived weaknesses they might have.
Nationals did that. They got the closer Mark Melancon from the Pirates. And we saw a number of deals over the weekend with the deadline approaching now past. Cleveland tried to get Lucroy. That didn't work out, but they did get Andrew Miller from the Yankees. The Yankees traded everybody off and really rebuilt their farm system. Brian Cashman, a seller for the first time in maybe a quarter century, did a marvelous job restocking the Yankee system. They got some good players. Traded Beltran, traded Chapman, traded Miller. Got a whole bunch of good prospects. Trey Turner. He's 0 for 2. Well, Trey Turner knows all about being traded. He was the 13th overall pick in the draft 2 years ago by the Padres, but then after that season in the wintertime, as he knocks one into left field for a base hit. The Padres agreed to deal Turner to Washington as part of a 3-team trade with Tampa Bay that involved Will Myers. That's how Myers ended up in San Diego. But because Turner had just been drafted, there's a rule. They had to wait a year to trade him. You can't just draft the guy and then trade him. They don't want any of that monkey business going on around. So the rule is if you draft the guy, he's got to be in your organization for at least 1 year. Then you can trade him. So they had to wait until last June, even though the trade was in December, before they could send him to Washington. But now here he is as a shortstop turned center fielder. Jason Worth has singled and flied out.
Talking about Aroldis Chapman, the Nationals briefly were in the Chapman sweepstakes, but talking to Mike Rizzo, the general manager, before the ball game, he said the asking price was just ridiculous. He was going to have to give up 3 guys off his major league roster and their 2 best minor league prospects.
Yeah, the Yankees really wanted to restock. Well, you think of prospects when you're building a major league organization sometimes as currency. You can use them to get the guys you need, and the Cubs certainly are overflowing in prospect currency these days. And they had the youngsters to make that kind of a deal for Chapman. Trey Turner with that great speed takes off for second. He could absolutely fly around the bases. Trey Turner, that's his 8th steal. He's yet to been caught.
Didn't even get a great jump. Unfortunately, Wellington Castillo, in his haste to get that ball out of his glove and into his throwing hand, just lost the handle behind the plate. The 8th stolen base. He has not yet been caught.
Well, we got a 1-1 count on Worth. A little debate now about Wellington Castillo and Kerwin Danley. Okay, now 1-2. We've got this sorted out. And Jason Worth says, wait a minute, that was a ball.
I believe it's 0-2.
Now they're going to change it again, 0-2. Off the middle, Chris Owings has it. Archie Bradley gets through the 3rd. Diamondbacks trail the Nationals 6-1. We start the home half of the third. Hey, D-backs fans, introducing Pepsi Moji. Every time you grab an ice cold Pepsi 20-ounce bottle this summer, you'll find a Pepsi Moji on the side of the bottle, and there are hundreds of different designs. So show the world how you feel and what you love with Pepsi Moji using hashtag #SaveWithPepsi. Archie Bradley, the pitcher, leads off the third against Stephen Strasburg. Well, this is kind of the way the things have gone for the D-backs as of late. Near the end of June, they went on that streak during which they won 7 of 8 games, and at that point, which was June 24th, they were only 4 under 500. But since then, they've dropped 22 of 29. Just back from a 3-7 road trip.
Anybody that's ever been in this game for any amount of time knows you never take any opponent for granted. But boy, Cincinnati and Milwaukee, you sure hope to come home with more than 3 wins on that road trip.
One in Cincy, 1 in Milwaukee, and 1 in LA. Fastball missed, and the count is full on Archie Bradley, 3-2. Bradley, Segura, Bourne here in the Diamondback third. And Strasburg, as he often does, wins the battle, his 3rd strikeout.
Hey fans, a D-backs home run tonight means a free jumbo jack tomorrow at participating Jack in the Box locations with the purchase of a large drink.
Strasburg came into the ball game with 155 strikeouts in just under 128 innings this year. His teammate Max Scherzer, the Marlins' Jose Fernandez, and Madison Bumgarner of the Giants, the only pitchers in the game who have struck out more batters this year than Stephen Strasburg. And he's ahead of Segura 0-1. He has 8 double-digit strikeout games this year. His high for the season is 11. Here in the Washington dugout for Robinson. He makes a nice catch just shy of the railing for the 2nd out.
Robinson had a couple of peeks to see how close he was getting to that wall over there. You see his teammates and coaches jumping up on the top step there to help him. That's the pitching coach Mike Maddox.
Michael Bourne.
Strikeouts per 9 innings. You go back to the beginning of the 2012 season. At the top of the list is Yu Darvish at 11.3 strikeouts per 9 inning, and then Max Scherzer, Stephen Strasburg, the next 2 on the list. Some guy named Kershaw and another guy named Sale.
Never heard of him.
Also in the top 5.
So Chris Sale ended up not getting traded, right?
Yeah.
How about that? After the fiasco with the jerseys. Not for sure he'd be on his way out of Chicago, but he's still a White Sox. Two and two on Michael Bourne. The Royals' Danny Duffy had a no-hitter through 7 in Tampa Bay. That was earlier tonight. Lost the no-hitter in the 8th inning. Royals won the game 3-0. The Rays traded pitcher Matt Moore to the Giants today for Matt Duffy. He had a couple of prospects. Three and two on Michael Bourne. Back foot up against the railing. Our old buddy Wade Miley got traded the other day from the Mariners to the Baltimore Orioles. Baltimore's been looking for starting pitcher, so Wade Miley back in the American League East. He was with the Red Sox before Seattle. And Michael Bourne works a 2-out walk. First base on balls issued by Strasburg, and that brings up Paul Goldschmidt.
Near no-hitter, Duffy struck out 16 batters for the Royals, the most in franchise history.
Hard throwing left-hander Danny Duffy. Goldie an RBI ground out his first time up. Only other NL West team in action tonight, the Padres. They're hosting the Brewers. Scoreless in the second inning at Petco Park. Brewers will be in for the first of 3 this weekend on Friday. Zach Greinke bobblehead day coming up Saturday here at the ballpark. Broken bat, a little flare, very short right. Harper coming in, but Murphy drifts out and he collects that. And Strasburg strands the 2-out walk. We are through 3. Diamondbacks down 6-1.
The top half of the fourth, time to take a look back at baseball history, brought to you by Geico. Nate Colbert becomes the second player to hit 5 home runs in a doubleheader. The amazing thing was, as an 8-year-old, he went to Sportsman's Park in St. Louis to see Stan Musial hit 5 home runs in a doubleheader. And later, as a professional himself, he hits his own 5 home runs in a doubleheader. Drove in 13 runs and had 22 total bases in one day.
Bryce Harper leads off the 4th inning against Archie Bradley. Nate Colbert was the first really good Padre. People tend to forget him. He came along right before Dave Winfield. Back when the Padres wore those really mustardy colored yellow uniforms head to toe, and Don Zimmer was the manager out there. Of course, they were a great Pacific Coast League team for years and years. Ted Williams played for the Padres, growing up in the North Park area in San Diego. But boy, Nate Colbert gets overlooked a lot of times. But in the early 70s, he was a very good player in the National League.
Dangerous hitter.
Those uniforms were spectacular.
I wouldn't go that far.
Sort of a mustardy color. I mean, the pants and the jerseys were all, and the hats, they were all the same thing. Randy Jones wore those uniforms. The big afro sticking out under the hair. Two and two on Bryce Harper. He has walked, singled, and scored twice so far. which is remarkable considering he came into the ball game stuck in a 6 for 55 slump. He struck him out. That's the first strikeout tonight for Archie Bradley.
High four-seamer. We talked about Steven Strasburg using that pitch effectively when he gets to a 2-strike count. That time Archie Bradley exploits Bryce Harper with a high fastball.
Daniel Murphy has walked, singled, and scored twice. So he came in leading the National League at 350, and now he's up to 352. Base hit for Daniel Murphy. He's just having one of those years. You cannot get any more locked in than he is right now, and has been all year.
Third baseman Anthony Rendon.
He has walked, singled twice. Here's Anthony Rendon, who's knocked in 3 runs already.
One of the biggest compliments you can pay anybody, regardless of what they do for a living, is saying, boy, does he make it look easy. And right now Daniel Murphy makes hitting major league pitching look very easy.
Rendon a sacrifice fly and a 2-run double.
When a guy is as hot as Daniel Murphy and you get a chance to stand next to him, you try to rub up against him, see if some of it will jump over onto your uniform. Talked a lot recently, the grind it's been for Diamondbacks pitchers, both starters and bullpen, but it's been a little bit of a grind for the catchers too. Wellington Castillo and Tuffy Gosewich have been really busy. A lot of pitches that have been in the dirt, all around the strike zone, way out of the strike zone.
Not able to get Chris Herman back there. The Herminator is still on the DL. There's Kathy Grant chasing that one down. So it's been Willie and Tuffy. That's it. Ahmed on the DL as well. Tuffy's working hard on that mustache. Two and two on Anthony Rendon. There's Herm the Worm, the Herminator, Babe Herman. It missed his left-hand bat the last couple of weeks. Yanked that fastball a bit, and it's a full count, 3-2. Archie had settled down after the Nationals got 3 consecutive hits in the second inning. Retired 4 straight, gave up a Turner single, got the next 2 before Murphy's base hit. 3-2 to Rendon with Ramos on deck. Rendon's now hit safely in 5 straight games. He had a homer over the weekend in San Francisco. Nationals split a 4-game series with the Giants. Murphy holds on the 3-2, and Rendon knocks it into left, a base hit. Two on and one out for Ramos. That's 11 hits for Washington.
Catcher Wilson Ramos.
And Rendon really looks locked in at the plate as well. Late, quick swing.
Dominic Leone warming up in the Diamondback bullpen as Mike Butcher pays a mound visit. Archie's at least smiling out there. We'll see if he can just find a way to at least get him through 5 and not wear out that bullpen, which has just come home from a long 10 games and 10-day road trip. He's already given up 6 runs on 11 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 1. He's got Murphy at second, Rendon at first, 1 away for Ramos. Ramos an RBI single in the first. He's 1 for 2. Ramos leads all major league catchers in batting average, RBIs, and OPS. And he said recently that the best decision he's ever made was to get laser eye surgery. Had that done this March, and he says it's helped him to really recognize pitches a whole lot better and helped him to not swing at pitches that are out of the zone, and the numbers certainly reflect that. This is a guy who hit .229 last year. But he's just under .330 right now, already with 15 homers.
Well, if you can't see it, you can't hit it. Anthony Rendon with that double earlier in the ball game, his 100th of his career.
Base hit for Ramos. He knocks it into center. Murphy coming home, and it's 7-1 Nationals. Another RBI for Ramos, who's 2 for 3.
Send him. First baseman Clint Robinson.
Out of a third of the plate and down, and Ramos takes it right back up the middle of the field.
Well, Chip Hale's going to pull the plug right here. He's got Dominic Leone warming up, and it's been a rough night right from the get-go for Archie Bradley, who gave up 4 in the first inning, and he will leave trailing 7-1 back from Chase Field after this. Tonight, 7-1 Washington, only 1 out in the 4th inning, and your Arizona Federal Credit Union pitching change brings this right-hander Dominic Leone a 7.84 ERA in 11 appearances. Dominic has given up runs in Each of his last 3 times out, including yesterday at Dodger Stadium, he faced 5 batters, gave up 3 hits, including a home run to Yasmani Grandal.
Good numbers at AAA Reno before his recall on July 6th. A 3.86 ERA down there pitching in the Coast League, which is very respectable, a 4-2 record, but it's been a struggle for Dominic up here.
Clint Robinson will be the hitter. Rendon at second and Ramos at first. A short night for Archie. Nationals already with 7 runs on 12 hits. And this is a Diamondback team that's coming off a 14-3 loss at Dodger Stadium yesterday. A game that the D-backs actually led 3-0. In the air to center for Michael Bourn. That'll bring up Danny Espinosa, the shortstop. He's got an RBI single, 1 for 2.
Shortstop, Danny Espinosa.
You know when you take those team photos during spring training?
Sure.
Every team goes through that. They take all sorts of photographs for the media guide and the scoreboard and the promotional spots and all that stuff. Well, Danny Espinosa spent the whole off season growing this really long beard, and he showed up for picture day like that and then shaved it. So as you can see, that's Danny Espinosa almost in disguise, and he looks a little different now.
It's like the bottom half of a Chewbacca mask.
It does. Have you seen this man?
That's just to make it hard on the camera guys around the major leagues. You know, these guys have pictures of the opposing players so that when we're talking about somebody up here in the booth, they can spot them and get a quick shot of them. And
he's trying to stay low key, I guess.
Danny Espinosa apparently doesn't want any airtime.
And you got Jason Worth, who's got the flowing locks on his head and on his face. He's a facial hair enthusiast. Well, who isn't, frankly?
Oh, man.
Hobbies, he just wrote down facial hair enthusiast. Yeah. I also collect stamps.
I think that's the next thing that will be the fantasy. You know, fantasy football, fantasy baseball, fantasy facial hair for the enthusiasts.
You got certain points for guys that have full beards, half beards.
Sure.
Bryce Harper would qualify, be a high pick. I used to be in an umpire ejection fantasy league. Everybody drafted umpires. I was in one for years, and every time your umpire threw a guy out, you got a point.
Wow, I could have really helped you.
Yeah. Joe West, who's at third base, he was always a very high draft pick, the Cowboy, in the umpire ejection fantasy league. That's behind Castillo. Rendon will move up along with Ramos. A wild pitch charge to Dominic Leone.
Just spiked that all the way near the feet of Espinosa that time. I mentioned the catchers have been earning their money over the last week or so. A lot of pitchers having control issues, firing the ball all over the place.
Full count now on Danny Espinosa. This one might hit the roof. Castillo back by the screen.
Off the bat, Wellington thought that ball was going to go out of play, but it's actually on the grass back there behind home plate. Thought he was in good position, has to range a little bit to his left and just clanks it off the thumb of that catcher's mitt.
He didn't go, says Joe West, and the bases are loaded. Well, already all 9 National starters have a hit. They have 7 runs on 12 hits, including Strasburg, who singled his first time up. And he's up with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Rendon's at third, Ramos at second, and Espinosa is at first.
And all 9 guys in the Nationals lineup with 3 plate appearances, and we're in the 4th inning.
Well, Cleveland, who's a first place team and one of the best teams in baseball, they had a day like this today. They lost at home to the Twins, who have the worst record in the major leagues. Minnesota won at Cleveland today 12-5. So sometimes this happens.
Third bases loaded situation for the Nationals already in this game.
Well, Dominic Leone, with the bases loaded facing the pitcher, has fallen behind 2-0. Three and 0. That's in there for a strike, and it's 3-1. Base hit. Rendon will score. They'll stop Ramos at third, and it's 8-1 Washington. Strasburg 2 for 3 today. Now he's got an RBI.
Anybody with a bat in their hand is dangerous, especially when you put yourself in those good hitters counts. And this time Strasburg with a ground ball right back up the middle of the field to drive home another run.
The Nationals, Steven Strasburg, has 2 hits tonight. The Diamondbacks have 2 hits. Trey Turner. He drives the first pitch deep to right field. Peralta on the warning track, and he runs it down. Washington adds 2 more. They lead at 8-1. As we start the home half of the fourth, fans, you don't want to miss D-backs Teal Tuesdays this month. The D-backs are offering $1 hot dogs. That's right, $1 hot dogs during every Tuesday home game this year. Get your Teal Tuesday tickets at dbacks.com and you can chow down for a bucket dog.
That's how good our camera guys are. They can unwrap a dog and put mustard and relish. Curtis out there working hard, one-handed. Nice going, Curtis.
Just don't put ketchup on it. That's all I ask. There you see, Curtis knows how to eat a hot dog. I'm strictly a mustard on the hot dog man.
I'm a ketchup guy.
I like when you go to those ballparks and there's like a giant vat of onions.
Yeah.
And you load it up with onions, put some mustard on there, preferably brown mustard, and you just go to town. There you go.
See, I like those better. That big bowl of onions, that might have been there the whole homestand for all you know.
That's a fair point. A lot of beef on the menu for the Nationals. Every Washington starter, including the pitcher Stephen Strasburg, has a base hit. Strasburg has 2, in fact. 8 runs on 13 hits. Diamondbacks 1 run on 2 hits as Jake Lamb leads off the fourth.
Nationals leadoff hitter Trey Turner is on pace for 9 at-bats in this game. 4 innings, 4 ABs.
He's flied out, grounded out, flied out again, singled, stolen a base. Shift is on for Lamb. Jay coming off that left hand bruise that nagged him for much of the last 2 weeks of July. And he had a hit in every game of the series over the weekend at Dodger Stadium.
You mentioned earlier that Minnesota-Cleveland game. The Twins beat the Indians 12-5. Max Kepler became the 7th player in franchise history to hit 3 homers in a ball game. Max Kepler, that's right.
And a tough year for the Twins. They picked up Hector Santiago from the Angels in a trade. Alex Meyer on his way to Anaheim. Into the shift. Murphy is there. They retire Lamb to open up the home half of the fourth. Wellington Castillo now. Wellington on the road trip had 6 hits in 6 games, including 3 doubles and a home run. He knocked in 7. And as you mentioned, Bob, starting to drive the ball a little more often as of late.
Barrel on it a few more times, hit a couple balls in the gap at Miller Park in left center field, including a ground rule double up and over the fence. Drove a ball hard to right field, his first at bat tonight.
Stephen Strasburg appears to be on his way to his 15th win in his 20th start. No pitcher in baseball has won more games this year. And with the Nationals leading the division and Strasburg racking up the strikeouts, a low ERA, putting wins in his back pocket, he's going to be considered a Cy Young contender, if not a front runner in the National League. Even though you're not supposed to count wins.
It's just funny how the good pitchers always seem to kill.
There is that coincidence. 2 outs.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
David Peralta.
Stephen Strasburg's only loss this year came just 2 starts ago. He struck out 10 Dodgers. That was July 21st. But he also gave up a couple of home runs, 6 runs on 7 hits in 6 innings, in fact, as David Peralta steps in. But prior to that start, Strasburg was 13-0. His ERA was 2.51. But then he had that loss to the Dodgers. Bounced back his previous timeout. That was last Wednesday, when the Nationals went to Cleveland and Strasburg threw 7 scoreless innings and gave up only 3 hits.
That string of 6 starts, he gave up 1 run against Chicago, gave up no runs against the Reds, 1 against the Mets, 1 against the Pirates, 6 against the Dodgers, and then shut out the Indians. Throw out that Dodger start, and this guy's been as good as anybody in baseball. And home road makes no difference for him. He's a perfect 7-0 on the road this year with an ERA of 1.72.
Well, they're certainly happy with Steven Strasburg and gave him all that money, 7 years, $175 million. And so most of the Nationals contingent is here with us as Peralta walks that one off. Mike Rizzo runs the front office. Just 2 booths down to our left. There's the GM on the right, the great Bob Boone, who has a job in the Nationals front office, does a lot of their player evaluation. Great catcher in the American League for so many years, and the National League with the Phillies. Played on some very good Angels teams, Bob Boone.
Seemed like wherever Bob Boone went, the pitching staff was good.
There is that too, isn't it?
I mean, a lot of it had to do with him. He was really good back there behind the plate. You talk about a guy that was still and could frame pitches.
Peralta drives that one to left center. Jason Worth runs it down. A 1-2-3 inning for Strasburg. He leads at 8-1. Trail the Nationals 8-1, and we're joined in our booth here by the lovely Mike. Where's Vanessa? You're a lovely person. Vanessa, she's working tonight?
She's way more lovely than I am. She'll be here tomorrow.
Don't sell yourself short.
Well,
you're a good-looking man, and you look really good in this.
Absolutely.
Join the Diamondbacks fans. It's Healthcare Appreciation Games, August 25th and the 28th, and you'll get this limited edition D-backs scrub top and game ticket. That's a special ticket package available only at dbacks.com/healthcare.
2 games.
Two games on different days. They're not back-to-back, August 25th and the 28th. And you two can look like a doctor, a D-back doctor, like Dr. Mike here.
I mean, you got to love that. You're taking care of the people that take care of us.
That's right. Healthcare appreciation. That's a great idea. So get your tickets at dbacks.com/healthcare. Healthcare. Are you certified? Do you have any medical training at all?
I have no CPR affiliation or approval or certification.
Do you know the Heimlich maneuver?
Yeah. I mean, I could give it the old college try.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll pass.
I mean, I'm not trained. I'm not classically trained, but I've seen it in movies and TV shows before.
Oh, okay.
That's right. You just grab the guy and.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
That's a nice look.
Do you feel like a doctor in that thing?
I mean, I definitely feel smarter.
Well, you look fantastic as Worth rounds out to third. Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. The lovely Mike. Nice job, Mike. Thanks, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What's going on with you these days?
Just hanging out. Glad to be back here at the ballpark.
Yeah, it feels like we've been gone for a month.
What was that? 10 games on the road?
Yeah.
9 games? 10 games?
11-day trip. We had 10 games in 10 days. It's always great when you start off with the off day in Cincinnati. That was the highlight.
Did you get a bunch of Skyline chili while you were there?
I can't get near that stuff.
No?
It's oh god. It's,
oh man,
it's
come
awful.
on.
No, it's heinous. There's Bryce Harper. That stuff makes me run for the hills. It's frightening.
Makes you run for something.
Hello. I'll tell you what, I'll need a doctor if I eat that stuff. That's the lovely Mike. Harper has walked, singled, struck out. He scored twice. Did you ever consider med school?
No. Not even for a second. Oh my. That shirt though does remind me of playing winter ball down in the Dominican Republic.
Why would that be?
I had to go to the dentist one day. I had a tooth problem and I went to the dentist and he had a shirt on similar to that, but he was also a barber and would change your oil in your car while you were getting your tooth fixed. Multi-purpose.
How'd it go? Was it okay?
Yeah, fixed the tooth fine. Later in that season, though, however, I came down with some kind of ridiculous illness. I have no idea what it was, and I went to a real doctor in the Dominican Republic, and he took my temperature and blood pressure and looked in my eyes and ears and told me to go home and drink the juice of 50 lemons and take these 2 pills.
Shut up.
No, I'm telling you. So
what'd you do?
We went to the farmer's market, bought a bag of lemons, and my wife Joan sat there squeezing the juice of 50 lemons into a glass, and I gulped it down with those 2 pills. I have no idea what they were, but boy, did I feel better.
It worked?
Yeah, it was amazing.
But you don't know what was wrong with you in the first place.
No, and I don't know what I took other than the juice of 50 lemons.
I think you may be onto something here.
You know, when in Rome, you do as the Romans do, I guess. He said this will work. I guarantee you. And he was right.
It's like milk of the poppy. 0-2 on Daniel Murphy. Murphy's walked, singled twice, and scored 3 times. And he came in leading the league at .350 with his batting average. Now he's hitting .354. Drives that one toward the pole. And Murphy's at it again. Harper's flying around third. He'll come in and score, and it's 9-1. Daniel Murphy, his 3rd hit tonight. There's locked in, and then there's locked in.
Now, this is ridiculous. I mean, this is just a clinic. That's a slider down and out over the plate. And he just rips that ball. I talked about it earlier. No stride with the front foot at all. Just a little bit of a weight shift to get some movement in his swing, and rips that ball into the gap in right center.
I mean, he is killing the ball lately. Last 17 games, including tonight, he's got 9 doubles, 6 home runs, and 21 RBIs. Anthony Rendon. Rendon's had a good night too. He's got a single, a double. He's knocked in 3. Washington has scored 9 times. Another deep fly ball. This one's going to stay in the yard for Peralta. Murphy will tag and head for third. That'll bring up Wilson Ramos, the catcher. Ramos a pair of singles. He's driven in 2 runs and scored a run. With Murphy at third and 2 outs. They're going to pinch run now for Murphy. He's coming out of the ball game. Ben Revere.
Daniel Murphy pointed at himself like, me?
No, the other guy on
They're
third.
not going to replace a third base coach in the middle of an inning, so yeah. You.
Well, as we said, he's missed the last couple of games, at least as a starting player, Daniel Murphy. He's had some left leg tightness, so Dusty Baker figures, well, give him half the night off anyway. He's done enough damage now. Here's Ramos with Revere at third and 2 outs. Wilson Ramos is known as the Buffalo. I guess when you're playing at 255, seems about right. In the hole, backhand stop by Chris Owings, plants that foot and fires a strike to Goldie. Nationals get one more. They lead it 9-1. In the 5th inning, nobody sees sports quite the way Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock do. The brains to know and the guts to say. It's Colin and Jason on FS1's new daily sports talk show, Speak for Yourself. It's weekdays at 3 only on FS1. Chris Owings leads off the Diamondback 5th. Changes for Dusty Baker's Nationals. Chris Heisey takes over in left field, replacing Jason Worth. Ben Revere, who ran for Daniel Murphy, will play center field, and Trey Turner will move in from center to second base. And CO has a leadoff single. That's the third hit for the Diamondbacks. So it's Heise in left, Revere in center, and Turner at second base. Here's Brandon Drury. Oh, and 2. Well, the season has definitely been a learning process for Brandon. He's an absolute sponge around the game and soaks up as much as he can and then some, but it has been a process. He was hitting .320 for the season in the middle of May, but over his last 50 games, he's hit .216.
He's gotten himself out a lot recently, chasing bad pitches, even when he's had the count in his favor. He's swinging at some pitchers' pitches and making some easy outs that he probably shouldn't.
Strasburg missed with that fastball, and it's 1-2. Yeah, there was a time throughout much of April and May where everything Brandon hit was a line shot to the gap or down the line or in the seats. Extra base hits were coming 2 at a time, it seemed. And he's got that ability in there. He's a tremendous prospect. 23 years old. He'll turn 24 later this month. Question is, where does he play defensively? I'd like to see him find a home defensively, not be all over the field. He's played third, second, left and right this year. A fly ball to right field for Bryce Harper, drifting near the line. And he's got it in foul territory for the first out. That's 70 pitches for Stephen Strasburg, 48 strikes. Phil Gosselin will hit for the pitcher, Dominic Leone. Gosselin 268 and 1 home run.
Dominic Leone, number 15, Phil.
Rookie left-hander Steve Hathaway made his major league debut yesterday at Dodger Stadium and started warming up with the Sanderson Ford bullpen. As they hit for Leone, so Hathaway will get the 6th. Phil had a productive road trip. Kept with that steady right center field approach. Had 8 hits in 10 games on the trip, including 4 doubles. Made a bunch of starts at second base and played well defensively. Flare out to center. Revere has it.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50. PapaJohns.com.
Gene Segura doubled to lead off the ball game for the Diamondbacks. He has scored their only run. Came in a Goldie RBI ground out. Strasburg has still given up only 1 run on 3 hits. Bruce Owings at first, 2 outs. Padres lead the Brewers 1-0 in the 4th inning at Petco Park. Brewers come in for 3 games here at Chase Field starting on Friday. Zach Greinke bobblehead day coming up Saturday. Get your tickets for that one, dbacks.com. 0-2 on Segura. The third of our 4 bobbleheads this year. David Peralta bobblehead coming up later in the season. There's Zach. It was interesting, Bob, to watch Zach Greinke earlier today throwing in the bullpen. They had all the starting pitchers down there, and it was sort of like this big collective gathering or meeting of the starters. They all were watching each other throw, and a lot of conversations out there. Greinke worked for a long time today with Zack Godley, going over some things. Ray Shipley as well. Godley and Greinke were just having this running professional conversation for a long time out there.
I've said it many times before. That's usually how players end up learning about their craft. Obviously, there's coaches on the staff that are there to do that, but you always learn more when it comes from a teammate. Somebody that's actually been out there and gone through what you're going through.
There are the two Zacks. Boy, how valuable is that?
Oh, it's invaluable.
What a chance for Zack Godley right there. And earlier saw Mike Butcher out there with Mike Fetters working with Braden Shipley. Well, he was terrific in his second big league start. Saturday in LA, just dynamite. 11 ground ball outs, had that curveball working.
Former teammate of mine, Darrell Evans, told me very early on in my career, when you get into a slump, go to the guy that hits behind you in the batting order. Because he's standing in the on-deck circle watching every at-bat you take. Now, for me, that was usually the pitcher, since I hit eighth a lot, so that didn't really help me much.
Well, that's the toughest spot in the lineup to hit. Everybody knows that.
But the point was well taken. You know, the guy that stands there and has a sense of your rhythm and timing of your swing when things are going good, he's the guy that's going to spot things when they go bad first.
3-2. Owings takes off. That one is up and in on Segura. So there's the requisite up and in pitch to Gene. We see once again.
Get it out of the way.
2-1 and 2 outs now for Michael Bourn.
Fortunately, Gene able to get out of the way. Four-seamer up and in.
Well, I would imagine that philosophy does that apply to pitchers as well, because the starters are always top step of the dugout, watching every guy pitch every game.
Sure, critiquing every delivery, watching the windup, watching the stretch position, seeing if you're doing anything to tip pitches. Maybe you set a little higher on a breaking ball, a little lower on a fastball. Maybe your stride's a little bit longer on one pitch or the other. And starting pitchers are always watching and critiquing each other.
Zack Godley will start Wednesday afternoon here against Max Scherzer. Here's strike one to Bourn, who walked his last time up. Robbie Ray and Tanner Roark tomorrow night. Then a 12:40 first pitch on Wednesday. Godley and Scherzer. Don't forget, you can get matinee pricing on your tickets, fans, at dbacks.com for that Wednesday afternoon game. Then an off day on Thursday. The Brewers come in for the first of 3 on Friday. Robbie Ray tomorrow night.
Nationals have an odd schedule coming up here. They play 3 here in Arizona. They have an off day. 3 at home against San Francisco. Another off day. 2 against the Indians. And another off day. They have 3 off days in 8 days and then play 20 days in a row.
I'll tell you what, you can't put a price on an off day at home over the course of a major league season. They are invaluable. Kerwin Danley rings up Bourn, who still has not had a borderline pitch called in his favor all season long. It's 9-1 Washington. And hey fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Just download the app and take Fox Sports Arizona and Diamondbacks baseball with you wherever you go. We head to the 6th inning, and the new pitcher for the Diamondbacks. Second major league appearance for the 25-year-old left-hander Steve Hathaway. Made his big league debut yesterday at Dodger Stadium and had a rough time of it. Gave up 3 hits, including a home run to the left-hand hitting Corey Seager. He did retire Howie Kendrick, picked up his first major league strikeout, but 3 runs on 3 hits. He retired only 1 batter.
Yeah, grinding at bat against Corey Seager. Got in on his hands a couple times. Looked like he could put him away with a good breaking ball low and away. Unfortunately, Hathaway hung it over the middle of the plate, and Seager hit it for a 3-run homer.
So Steve Hathaway out of Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire just called up for the minor leagues over the weekend. His second big league appearance in as many days. He'll face Clint Robinson, who will lead off the Washington 6th inning. They'll put the shift on. Phil Gosselin has taken over at second base for Gene Segura. Ball 1 to Robinson. He had an RBI single in the first, 1 for 3. Gosselin will stay in the game at second base and bat 9th, so the pitcher spot now the leadoff spot for the Diamondbacks. Little squib shot to Jake Lamb with the shift on, and he throws him out 5-3 for the first out. And here's Danny Espinosa.
Shortstop, Danny Espinosa.
Espinosa has singled and walked. Got an RBI. Danny Espinosa is a self-proclaimed facial hair enthusiast. How about that?
It's the president of the Danny Espinosa fan club.
The bounce at a shortstop for Chris Owings. A nice high hop. Moisillo always throws that right on the money. 2 outs. And Strasburg will hit again.
Hey fans, you can follow Arizona Diamondbacks baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and our favorite, more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
A couple of ground ball outs for Steve Hathaway. Strasburg is 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He's got an RBI as well. Steve Hathaway split this year between AA Mobile and AAA Reno. And in total worked 40 innings and pitched to a 2.48 ERA. Did a good job this year in the minors. He's up from Reno, where he had 25 strikeouts in just under 25 innings. He was not in big league camp this spring. Well, Strasburg's got 3 hits, all singles. He rolls that one into right. Steven Strasburg through
Second baseman, Trey Turner.
nearly 6 innings, has as many hits tonight as the Diamondbacks, each with 3. Trey Turner now.
Second career 3-hit game for Steven Strasburg. We've been talking about the flurry of deals today on deadline day. 18 trades today, the most on deadline day since at least 1995. Our staff is still combing through transactions.
Well, when you add that second wild card, you greatly increase the number of teams who think they are in it and have a chance, and most of them are correct. So that's going to keep everybody busy. Mets got Jay Bruce. Not a perfect fit, said Sandy Alderson today, their GM, but they need the power. They're not sure what their outfield will look like. Bill Gosselin at second base. They get the force on Strasburg. So 3 ground ball outs for Steve Hathaway. Nice job. Bottom 6 coming up. Park, some Cold Stone. That'll help this one go down a little easier. 9-1 as we start the bottom of the 6th inning. What's next brought to you by CenturyLink. Game 2 of the 3-game set tomorrow night. Robbie Ray on the mound for the Diamondbacks against Tanner Roark for the Nationals. That's a 6:40 start. Diamondback Live pregame show at 6 o'clock on Fox Sports Arizona. And then a matinee getaway day game Wednesday afternoon, Zach Godley versus Max Scherzer. Don't forget matinee pricing on your tickets, fans, for that Wednesday game at dbacks.com. Goldie leads off the 6th against Steven Strasburg. Strasburg through 5 innings has given up only 1 run on 3 hits. He's walked 2, struck out 4. He has 3 hits. The Diamondbacks have 3 hits. Goldie has an RBI ground out and he's popped up 0 for 2. Goldie had 12 hits in 10 games on that long road trip. He homered in Cincinnati, doubled at Dodger Stadium. Everything else on the trip was a single.
Really odd to go to Dodger Stadium for a 3-game series and have Goldie not hit at least a couple of home runs.
Well, Miller Park too, the way he tore that place apart last year. And all singles there this year, lots of them. Segura doubled in the 1st. Peralta singled in the 2nd. Owings singled in the 5th. The only hits for the Diamondbacks so far. That's out of play. Blue Jays and Astros are in extras. 1-1 in the 13th inning in Houston. Full count 3-2 on Goldie. Padres still lead the Brewers 1-0 at Petco Park. They're in the 5th. Goldie, Lamb, Castillo 3, 4, and 5 here in the 6th inning. So roller to second for Trey Turner. They're not sure where Turner's going to play long term. He has played almost exclusively shortstop in the minors. He's played some second base as well. But lately he's been playing a lot of center field, which has been a sore spot for Dusty Baker's crew. Ben Revere has struggled this year. He's slumping. Michael Taylor's in the minor leagues. He's not had a good year at all offensively, so they thought, well, maybe Turner can go out there. Kind of like Chris Owings has done this year for the Diamondbacks. A shortstop moved out to center. Nationals have the shift on for Lamb. Jake so far has struck out, grounded out, but the way this kid runs center field has been no problem.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Chris Owings make that switch to center field, and his speed has really served him well, running down balls in the gaps or over his head. And Turner has blazing speed as well.
Yeah, they like this young man a lot. He just turned 23 years old on June 30th. First round pick out of North Carolina State by the Padres only 2 years ago, the 13th overall selection.
You know, and really a good situation for a young player with this Nationals team. They don't need him to come in here and be a superstar. They just need him to come in here and do what it is that he does, use his speed, get on base, score some runs ahead of all the thumpers that the Nationals have in the middle and bottom of the lineup.
Well, we talked about how fast he is, and it's Billy Hamilton type speed for Trey Turner. And so our outstanding crew in the truck, Brad the Big Dog Weimer, our producer, and Phil the Iron Horse Malika, our director, have put together a little side-by-side comparison as Lamb strikes out. So here we go. It's a race. Billy Hamilton versus Trey Turner. Go. And look how close this is.
Slow it down here. The right hand reaches the bag at almost the same time.
And Phil was so tired from helping to put that together, he's going to take the rest of the week off.
Take a week off. Okay. Phil's in mourning. You know, this is the first time maybe ever that the Yankees have had to wave the white flag.
Yeah, he's speechless, which is nice for everyone else, but not so good for him. But well, the Yankees did a tremendous job of restocking their system. We talked about that earlier. They traded Carlos Beltran, they traded Aroldis Chapman, they traded Andrew Miller, and they got some really good players in return. Then there are the Knicks. The Knicks. 1-2 on Beef Wellington. He has flat out grounded out. Two and two.
Very similar to the fastball to Gene Segura, that four-seamer that has a little extra up and in ride to it.
Called strike three. Well, in their last 15 innings, the Diamondbacks have been outscored 23-4. They trail this one 9-1.
said he wanted his young arms to have a short memory, and that's exactly what we see here in our Chaz Roberts Cool Plays of the day. Steve Hathaway got a little roughed up in his debut, but coming back with a clean 6th inning. He will start things off for the Diamondbacks in the 7th inning on the mound. And you'll remember now, to start the season, the D-backs relievers had very defined roles, from Cole Mentor pitching in long relief to Hudson Clifford Ziegler finishing things off in the late innings. But with the bullpen makeup a bit different now, Chip joked it's safe to say things are, quote, very undefined. He said, moving forward in the immediate future, the D-backs will play to the matchups with the goal of trying to give guys who are struggling the best chance to succeed. However, he did say that's not always possible, so what impresses him the most is when a young guy goes out there in an unfavorable matchup but finds a way to step up, showing that maturation.
Well, he'll face Chris Heisey to lead off the 7th inning here. Steve Hathaway, 3 ground ball outs in that 6th. So a nice bounce back outing for the youngster who got roughed up yesterday at Dodger Stadium in his major league debut. Some defensive changes behind him. We'll have those for you in just a moment. Phil Gosselin, who took over at second base earlier in the ball game, is now at first, replacing Goldie. Brandon Drury moves over to second, and Ricky Weeks Jr. replaces Drury in left. 1-2 on Chris Heisey, who's hitting .222 with 4 home runs. '25-year-old Steve Hathaway on a Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire. 14th round pick by the D-backs in the draft 3 years ago. He's out of West Acton, Massachusetts. Heisey, longtime Cincinnati Red, was a Dodger for a while last year. Now he's back with Dusty Baker in Washington, D.C. Brandon Drury at second. Another ground ball out for Hathaway. 1 away. Bryce Harper has walked twice, singled, and scored 3 times. D-backs have the shift on. One of the things that have been brought up in Washington this year, watching Bryce Harper go through this long slump. So what are the differences? Well, some of it has been Matt Williams, who managed Washington the last couple of years and is now back with the Diamondbacks. But Matty and Harper, they got on very well. They were a very good fit. And there was certainly stuff in there about mechanics and hitting and all of that, but it was more, it seemed, about personality. Matty was really a very good source for Bryce Harper, still a young guy, kind of a sounding board, an older brother type figure, and that's been missing this year. And Harper would say the biggest thing about Matt was that he'd tell people just to stay away from him when things weren't going well. And now that Harper's slumping, everybody's coming up and, hey, you know, think about your elbow and your foot and your head and all this, and he's kind of getting overloaded. But he would say that, you know, when he was struggling last year, and that wasn't very often, Matt would just kind of wait until Harper went to him. And then Matt would sort of take this Socratic approach with it and said, well, what do you think? And Harper would kind of figure it out on his own, and Matty just kind of sat there and listened, and it worked really well for Bryce Harper. And Dusty Baker's a player's manager, but he and Matty have very different personalities.
Probably different philosophies on hitting as well.
Bryce Harper gets this up in the air for Peralta.
That's amazing. When you're struggling, as good intentioned as it is, everybody in the world wants to help you.
Yeah.
Center field.
That kind of year for Bryce Harper. Yeah, you get letters from fans saying, you know, you're inhaling instead of exhaling, or your pinky finger's not where it should be on the bat, or your belt's too tight, or your shoes are too loose. There's all kinds of suggestions coming from every direction, and as I mentioned, all very good intention, but if you listen to all of it, you'll drive yourself crazy.
He's discovered that, apparently. He's talked a lot about that. Here's Ben Revere now. He has heard it all. Everybody's got something to say about his right shoulder flying open, where the bat is in the hitting zone, that front foot. It's getting down quickly. It's not getting down quickly enough. All this stuff. And he has been overloaded, Bryce Harper. But Matty apparently just sort of protected him from all that stuff. Told everybody just stay away from the kid. Because you forget he's still only 23 years old, Bryce Harper. Even though he's won an MVP award, he's still going to go through some of those adjustments.
Well, Matty went through a lot of the same adjustments when he got to the major leagues. Came up from AAA with the Giants as a shortstop.
A little flare over to Jake Lamb, and good job here by Steve Hathaway. He's got 6 outs. Bottom 7 coming up. Six innings, gave up only 1 run on 3 hits, walked 2 and struck out 6.
He came as advertised tonight. He showed you his 4-pitch arsenal earlier in the ball game, and we saw a little bit of all of them, especially that 4-seam fastball up in the zone. A man much better than I remember seeing from Steven Strasburg in the past.
And here is Jonathan Papelbon, 6 times an All-Star. He's 9th on baseball's all-time saves list, but now that they have Mark Melancon from the Pirates, who was acquired just before the deadline, Papelbon is in a setup role, despite the fact he's got 19 saves in 22 chances this year. Remember, they acquired him at the deadline last year when they had Drew Storen as the closer. That didn't go very well or work out at all. David Peralta, first pitch swinging, drives it deep to left field, but there's room for Heisey. 1 out, and that'll bring up Chris Owings. Of course, there was that famous moment with Papelbon and Bryce Harper. You know, Papelbon was the new guy, sort of started getting on Harper for not running this ball out. And when he got back to the dugout, there was the choking incident, and Matt Williams was managing the Nationals at this time, and this is sort of what he had to deal with last year. But no issues this year at all between those two. They've been able to put that behind him.
You know, and knowing Dusty the way I do, I don't think he minded that happened, just where it happened.
Oh yeah, and
you know, go up the tunnel. If you guys have a beef with each other, yeah, settle it like men. Go on up the tunnel, talk about it. If you can't talk about it, then do what you have to do, but get out of the dugout away from the TV cameras.
Chris Owings singled his last time up. Dusty Baker seems like a very good fit for this ball club. It's for the most part a veteran team. They got some youngsters here and there, but these guys know what they're doing. The Ryan Zimmermans and the Rendones and Espinosas. Even Harper's been around for a while. Jason Worth. Dusty's always had that reputation as a player's manager, a guy that just kind of relaxes and kind of chill. He's got the toothpick, sits back, lets guys do their thing. Remember a little Darren Baker who was standing at home plate. JT Snow came across and grabbed them, picked him up. Darren apparently is a pretty good baseball prospect right now. He's almost grown up. That was so long ago. But Dusty's son is a very good baseball player from what we're told. Prep player. Espinosa at shortstop makes a nice play. Brandon Drury is flat out twice, 0 for 2. Jonathan Papelbon's put up quite a track record over the years. 6 All-Star appearances. 368 saves. He's 9th all time. Lazy fly ball for Ben Revere. 1, 2, 3 inning for Papelbon. We'll head to the gate. That's 9-1 Washington. Hey fans, we invite you to participate in Gila River Game Nights by signing up at one of the interactive kiosks located right here at Chase Field during any Diamondbacks regular season home game. New battery for the Diamondbacks. Tuffy Gozowish will take over behind the plate. The new pitcher Randall Delgado. 3.96 ERA. He's worked just over 52 innings in 46 appearances. Randall worked in that crazy hour-long 13-minute 7th inning Friday at Dodger Stadium, and he was actually the guy that got all 3 outs in the bottom half of that inning. It worked to Anthony Rendon to lead off the Nationals' 8th. There's Tuffy behind the plate. Rendon has a sacrifice fly, a double and a single. He's knocked in 3 runs and scored a run. We came back from our road trip today and everybody wanted to talk about that 7th inning. Friday night at Dodger Stadium, it was always the same thing. Well, you know, I turned on the the TV, and the Diamondbacks had this big lead. I watched a show that lasted an hour long, and well, let me check the score. It was still the 7th inning, and they were losing. That was the talk of the town today.
Yeah, everybody wanted to talk about it except for those of us who were there to witness it.
It was something to see.
Man.
Pops him up. Brandon Drury's under it. Wilson Ramos, the catcher. Tuffy goes into the leadoff spot in the lineup, so the pitcher spot now 5th for the Diamondbacks. So Tuffy will be due up 2nd in the home half of this inning. Ramos has a pair of singles. He's got 2 RBIs. He scored a run. 9 runs on 15 hits for Washington. They had 4 in the first against Archie Bradley and 2 in the second. A rough night for Archie today. Andy Murphy, the league's leading hitter. And a walk, 2 singles, an RBI double. He scored 3 times. And he only played half the game. Delgado missed with that one, 1-2. Fly ball drifting near the seats. Peralta's over there, but he's going to watch it go up in the seats and out of play. Well, you know, we'll overlook Randall Delgado sometimes, the work that Randy does in the bullpen, but you know, last year had career highs. He won 8 games. He made 64 appearances. He was a real workhorse back there. Had a 3.25 ERA. He's done a good job again this year, just about 52 innings. An ERA under 4. He can give you some length at the back end. And you still look at that Justin Upton trade that Kevin Towers made several years ago, and you've got Delgado who's here, you've got Drury who's here, you've got Ahmed. Every time somebody makes a trade, you really do have to wait a while for it to.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially when it involves prospects, younger players. Almost bangs that one into center field all the way to the wall.
Our all-star catcher has his 3rd hit tonight. His 20th double of the year.
Boy, for a big man, he has a nice quick stroke. He just gets the barrel on the ball consistently. Drove it to the opposite field earlier in the ball game. This one to straightaway center field for extra bases.
Baseman Clint Robinson.
Well, he's at 2nd with 1 out for Clint Robinson, who's 1 for 4. See, the Cubs won today. They beat the Marlins 5-0. Got home from the plane last night after we landed from LA. Drove home, and the Cubbies and Mariners were in extra innings at Wrigley Field last night. And I saw Joe Madden win the game with your favorite play, or one of them anyway, the safety squeeze.
Well, we just know that's one of Joe's favorite toys. Gets the right combination of runner and batter and right game situation. He loves to use that safety squeeze.
Jason Hayward was at third. They were out of players, so John Lester went up there to pinch hit, dropped down the bunt. They walked it off.
I saw Travis Wood, one of their left-handed relief pitchers, made a great play in the ivy in left field. Took extra bases away.
Mariners had a late lead. Steve Cishek struggled to close. Cubs came back and tied it, forced extras, and won it on a walk-off safety squeeze bunt. Yeah, everybody acted like Joe Madden invented baseball after that. What a genius. And I'm a big Joe Madden fan, but Joe just kind of went, well, that's what we do. It's just fundamental baseball. No big deal. That's how you win games.
That old saying, just putting players in a position where they've had the best possible chance to succeed. And with John Lester being your only option as a pinch hitter in that situation, your best chance of something happening offensively is probably for him to put down that safety squeeze. Not going to drive the ball out of the ballpark. Not going to hit it into gaps, but he might be able to get down a good bunt.
Robinson belts that one into right. That's 17 hits for the Nationals. Danny Espinosa.
Yeah, probably fortunate Robinson didn't get a little lift on that pitch. He was a big-time home run hitter in his minor league career. In parts of 8 seasons, he hit 141 homers. Had a season of 29, another season of 23.
Espinosa has singled and walked. He's got an RBI. Ramos at third and Robinson at first. Nationals came into tonight 61-44 on the year under Dusty Baker. A 4-game lead over the Marlins atop the NL East. Mets were 6.5 back. The Marlins lost in Chicago. Cubs beat them 5-0. And the Mets lost at home against the Yankees 6-5 in that Subway Series. So the Nationals with a good opportunity here. 2 teams behind them have both lost.
You mentioned 17 hits for the Nationals tonight. 8 of those hits have come with runners in scoring position. They're 8 for 16 with runners in scoring position.
Is that good?
It's pretty good. If you're the Nationals. Pretty good.
There's a strike.
It can be deceiving sometimes. You put a bunch of hits up on the board, but you know, hit into a double play with runners in scoring position or strike out with runners in scoring position, and you go, wait a minute, how did we get 15 hits and only score 2 runs? Well, it happens.
Yeah. Pitcher spot up next. Wilmer Defoe in the on deck circle. The 3-1 to Espinosa is high for a ball. So Delgado has loaded the bases with 1 out. 5th time in the ball game the Nationals have had the bases loaded against the Diamondbacks. And here's Defoe, just 1 for 4 on the year. They're without Stephen Drew, the former Diamondback. He's on the DL with vertigo-like symptoms. So here comes Defoe as Mike Butcher will pay a mound visit. $17 hit for the Nationals. Their season high is 18. That was June 8th against the White Sox. They won that game 11-4. They lead this one 9-1, but threatening more. Bases loaded, just 1 out. And Adam Lowen, one of the 2 new lefties up. Run up for the minor leagues over the weekend. He'll start throwing. Lowen and got some big outs in that 8th inning Saturday in the win over the Dodgers. Wilson Ramos, the catchers, at third. Clint Robinson at second base. Danny Espinosa at first. There's a chopper foul. Difo up from the Nationals AA team in Harrisburg. Nearly 100 games there, hit .255. He's 1 for 4 this year. He can run. He stole 26 bases in the minors this year.
Yeah, talking to Mike Rizzo about Difo before the game today. They really like his speed, and they like the fact he can play both second and short. Yeah, a lot of times a major league team gets handcuffed because you have to carry a backup shortstop and a backup second baseman. But Difo can fill both those roles, much like Chris Owings or Gene Segura. Play both those middle infield spots. Allows you to carry an extra player at another position.
24-year-old switch hitter they signed out of the Dominican Republic. He can run. He had a 49 steal season 2 years ago in the Sally League. Swiped 30 bags last year between A ball and AA. Delgado ahead 0-2.
He was the most valuable player in that South Atlantic League back in 2014.
Nationals have really made an effort in recent seasons under Mike Rizzo to get a little better scouting the Dominican Republic. A lot of teams have academies down there now. One and two. Gets this in the air, pretty deep left center field, and that's going to reach the wall. Ramos scores. Robinson right behind. They'll stop Espinosa at third, and it's 11-1 Washington.
Difo not a big guy, but shows good opposite field power here. Fastball up and out over the plate, and he barrels it up to the gap in left center field. That ball just continued to slice away from Michael Bourn. Splits the gap out there in left center.
Infield will come in for Trey Turner. That's going to get to the wall in left center. Espinosa scores. Difo right behind him. And Trey Turner has a 2-run triple. It's 13-1. Check out the speed.
Yeah, really scooting around those bases. Talk about it all the time. When speed is one of your best assets, you want to show it every opportunity you get. And Turner easily cruises into third on a triple to the gap in left center.
Back after this. 8th inning marches on. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the left-hander Adam Lowen. 32 years old, called up from AAA Reno this weekend. Made his D-backs debut Saturday in the win in Dodger Stadium. Gave up a single and a base on balls, but got 3 fly ball outs working that 8th inning. It'll work to Chris Heisey now. Nationals have scored 4 in this 8th inning. Trey Turner at third, still just 1 out. Washington 13 runs on 19 hits. The 19 hits now a new season high for hits allowed by the Diamondbacks in a 9-inning game. The season high in any game hits allowed is 20. That was April 24th against the Pirates, but that game went 13 innings. Thirteen runs for the Nationals, ties their season high. 19 hits is a new season high for Washington. 10 hits with runners in scoring position, also the most they've had this year. That's headed for the radio booth, and it just missed the moral compass, Mike Ferrin, who's cowering under the desk. Good to have the Governor and Tom Candiotti back on the radio side. They missed the entire road trip. An extended vacation for the Governor and Candy. Fly ball to left field. Ricky Weeks Jr. is out there. Turner at third. He can fly, as we've shown you. They'll score easily. It's 14-1. So the Diamondbacks have now given up 14 runs in consecutive games. They have been outscored in the last 2 games, 28-4. Bryce Harper. A 5-run Washington 8th. They scored 4 in the first. Harper has singled, walked twice, scored 3 times.
"36 hits and 8 base on balls allowed in the last 2 games by the Diamondbacks pitchers."
Ooh. Ouch, babe.
Yeah, not missing many bats.
2-1. Chris Owings snags that one, and the inning ends, but Washington gets 5 more. They lead it 14-1.
And it will. Diamondbacks Live come up after this game here tonight. Joe Borowski, a long time ago, we talked about the starting pitching matchup here. It really starts and ends with that, doesn't it?
Yeah, Archie never really settled into this game. Strasburg, he showed us why he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, putting himself in position to go 15-1. I'll break down both pitchers' outings in the postgame.
All right, I will ride your coattails. We send it back to Steve and Bob coming up right after the game. Diamondbacks Live, and Joe Borowski is back from assignment.
Wow, what was he assigned to? It was a long assignment for Joe.
Yes, yeah.
He's been working diligently on some project. He's Mero Petit.
Making sure his pool equipment worked properly.
Ah, apparently. Good to have Joe back with us. Phil Gosselin leads off the Diamondback 8th inning. Defoe takes over at shortstop for the Nationals, replacing Espinosa. And Phil Gosselin, as we saw him do throughout the last road trip, gets a base hit to right field. First at bat tonight for Tuffy Gozawish. 179 with a homer in 9 games this year. Tuffy 0 for 12 since the home run here against the Blue Jays back on July 20th. Diamondbacks have seen plenty of Yusmeiro Petit over the years, a longtime Giant. There was that game back in 2013. He almost no-hit them in San Francisco. Diamondbacks were down to their last strike in the 9th inning, and Eric Chavez had a base hit to break up the no-no at AT&T Park.
Was an odd season. The Diamondbacks would have rather faced anybody in that Giants rotation other than Petit. He was dealing against the D-backs.
Now part of this Nationals bullpen. And it looks like Petit is headed back to the postseason. Called strike 3 on Tuffy. Michael Bourne has walked. He's got a sacrifice.
Center fielder, Michael
and a strikeout.
Bourne.
Strikeout came on a horrible pitch, and we kind of joked about it at the time, but it is the honest to God's truth. Michael Bourne gets more bad pitches called against him than anybody else in a Diamondbacks uniform.
He has not had a borderline call go his way this year.
You know, whether it's an early pitch that puts him in a hole or a strike 3 call on a pitch that's way out of the zone.
And he always, every time he takes the pitch, he's doing the right thing. It's not a strike. That's why, you know, Michael always ends up walking away, you know, with a scowl on his face. Like, again? Again? I worked the count full. I battled back. I was supposed to take that pitch. Padres are now leading the Brewers. That's a 6-2 score in the 6th inning at Petco Park. Milwaukee will be in here for 3 games starting on Friday. That one will squirt through into right. A base hit for Bourne. Diamondbacks with only 3 hits all night long, but they have a pair of singles here in the 8th.
Left fielder, Ricky Weeks Jr.
First at bat tonight for Ricky Weeks Jr. Hitting .248. He's got 5 homers. Ricky Weeks Jr. on the last road trip really had some great at bats and played well. Saw action in 7 games, made 4 starts on the trip. Wound up with 5 hits, 3 RBIs, and 3 walks. Very productive trip for Ricky. He's up there with 2 on and 1 out. Way up in the air, very shallow right field. Turner calling for it. 2 down. Jake Lamb now. Jake 0 for 3, struck out twice. Yasmani Tomas has come out in the on-deck circle. Pitcher spot is up next for the Diamondbacks. Yasmani, who had that sensational road trip, had a little pain in his arm before the ball game today. Had a wrap on that, so they kept him out of the starting lineup. Just a little sore in there. So he will hit for the pitcher if Lamb can get aboard. 0-2 with 2 outs. Jake had a hit in every game of the series over the weekend at Dodger Stadium. But hitless so far tonight, 0 for 3. Right back to Petit. And he strands 2. We head to the 9th inning. Diamondbacks trail it 14-1. Ball is brought to you by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. Checking the scores on the old phone here at the ballpark as we start the 9th inning. A lot of numbers up there in Washington's favor. They lead it 14-1. They've had 19 hits. Call your friends and tell them. Same 2 teams tomorrow. New pitcher Enrique Burgos. 18 appearances this year, a 3.86 ERA. Last worked Saturday in Los Angeles.
For Washington, center fielder,
They'll face Ben Revere to lead it off for the Nationals. Revere, Rendon, and Ramos here in the 9th inning. Ben Revere lined out to third in his first at bat tonight. There's a strike from Burgos.
Boy, Ben Revere, unlike a lot of these Nationals hitters that are very still waiting for that pitch, he has all kinds of moving parts. A little bit of the chicken wing going on the back there, the Joe Morgan chicken wing.
Ground ball to second for CO. They retire Revere for the second time tonight. One away. Here's Anthony Rendon. A single, a double, a sacrifice flies, knocked in 3 runs. Again. Two outs for the catcher, Wilson Ramos. Ramos has had a good night. 2 singles and a double. He has scored twice. Has a pair of RBIs. Leading all major league catchers in batting average, RBIs, and OPS. Duffy just threw himself in front of that one.
He still picked it clean, even though he was facing the home plate umpire Kerwin Danley when he caught it.
Had it all the way.
But Burgos will do that every now and again. Just spike that mid-90s fastball way out in front of home plate.
97. Enrique Burgos has worked 12 innings since his latest recall from Reno at the beginning of July. And in those 12 innings, he's given up only 2 earned runs. Gets a little wild from time to time. 8 walks, 11 strikeouts. Mark Melancon, the new closer in Washington, D.C., former Pittsburgh Pirate. Apparently will get an inning of work here to get himself comfortable wearing his new uniform. That's in there for a strike, and it's 2-2 on Ramos.
Since that trade, Melancon has yet to appear for the Nationals, so an opportunity just to get him in there in the new uniform, make sure it's comfortable. Don't want him cutting up all the jerseys.
Well, he is nicknamed the Shark after all. Part of that Shark Tank in Pittsburgh. Three and two. Very high chopper in the hole. Land in front of Owings, and he throws him out. 3 ground ball outs for Burgos. Bottom 9th coming up. River game summary, and for the second consecutive game, the Diamondbacks have given up 14 runs. They trailed the Nationals 14-1. It was a rough and short night for Archie Bradley, who gave up 4 runs in a long first inning as Washington batted around, and they added 5 more in the 8th. And now their new closer is on with a 13-run lead in the 9th inning. It's Mark Melancon, acquired from the Pirates on Saturday, and since the middle of July 3 years ago, he has 128 saves, the most in the major leagues over that span, and he will be the man at the back end of this bullpen moving forward.
This is not a save situation.
Are you sure? Have your staff check on that.
I think the potential tying run has not been born yet.
But Melancon just picked up on Saturday, gets a chance to work an inning and sort of get his feet wet here in a Washington uniform. Yasmani Tomas will lead off the 9th inning, batting in the pitcher's spot. So Tomas, Peralta, and Owings in the Arizona 9th. El Tanque Yasmani Tomas, he's got an 8-game hitting streak going. 267 and 17 homers, coming off a sensational road trip. Had a little bit of a stiff arm, some soreness in there, coming off the long trip, so he's not in the starting lineup tonight, but hitting for the pitcher to start the 9th. And he swings at the first pitch, and it's 0-1. Tomas started all 10 games on the road trip, and he just crushed the ball. 375 on the trip with 4 homers and 10 RBIs. 0-2. Those feet are moving around in that box. Almost looks like the ground is moving underneath him. But he has hit safely in 8 straight games and 11 of his last 12. Able to check his swing there, as he was, Andy Fletcher. Andy Fletcher getting booed by the Nationals dugout. And giving him a hard time down there. And Melancon strikes out his first batter as a National, 1 away.
We know Melancon from his Pittsburgh days. That's his best secondary pitch. That big curveball, 12-6. Throws a lot of cut fastballs, usually one after another in a tight situation. But taking this opportunity with a 13-run lead to get on the same page with his catcher Wilson Ramos, get used to seeing signs from a different catcher.
Yeah, talk about a soft landing. Peralta has one of the D-backs' 5 hits, a single in the second. Fouls that one off his own back shoulder, and it's 0-1. Joe Borowski, the I was going to say the Bayonne Bleeder, but that's taken by Chuck Wepner. Need a better nickname for Joe. He's out there with Lightning Town Walsh. Here's Gary Gogo Gagne, our Golden Glover, down the right field line. As Peralta strikes out, Ramos will finish this one off. 2 strikeouts for Melancon. But anyway, Joe Borowski will be out there with Town Walsh. Diamondback Live postgame show. That's coming up right after our ball game as Chris Owings steps in.
Shortstop, Chris Owings.
A real tester for Joe here tonight. His first night back after being on assignment somewhere.
Yeah, we not allowed to say where, I guess. Maybe doing some government work that we don't know about.
Top secret, high level stuff.
Yeah, he's got clearance, all that stuff. Todd Walsh probably knows a guy that got him necessary paperwork and stuff. Kind of fast track that through the bureaucracy. They're coming up right after our ball game. There they are getting ready. The Lightning, Todd Walsh, and there he is, Joe Borowski, back from the secret special assignment. He's not allowed to say. If he starts talking into his shoe phone, we'll know something's up. So there's the ball game. Diamondbacks lose this one 14-1, and the D-backs in their last 2 ball games have been outscored 28-4. A 14-3 loss to the Dodgers yesterday. This one's 14-1, and they have dropped 23 of their last 30 games.
Wow. Very humbling the last 2 days. I'd really like to see the Diamondbacks come out with a little more fire tomorrow against Tanner Roark. It's not always easy against this Nationals team. They can run some starting pitching at you, but got to find a way to get it going.
Well, let's get the post-game show going. Joe Borowski standing by with Todd Walsh. Todd.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Do you have a rebuttal for any of that real quick?
I cannot speak on record about that.
On the grounds that it may incriminate you? Okay. All right, so here we go, Joe. We have lots to get to tonight, believe it or not, despite the score and despite the circumstances of late. Again, I do think we need to focus, though, on how this game started on the mound, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, this game was pretty much settled in the first inning, Todd. Yep. And we'll look at both pitchers and see the drastic difference.
All right, so here we go, folks. We'll take a short break here from Chase Field on this Monday night after the Diamondbacks are humbled by Stephen Strasburg and the Washington Nationals. We'll come back. Kate Long with us down at field level. We are efforting an interview on the Washington side of things. We'll also hear from Diamondbacks skipper Chip Hale inside the clubhouse, as we always do. And, of course, post-game reaction from Bob Brenly. That is Diamondbacks Live, presented by CenturyLink. And it begins when we come back right after this.